I am Superman of Doom. The people of the Motherland have come. Fortunately, I am Superman of Doom. Chapter 85. The faces of the two white-skinned Mars contestants were viciously distorted, and they quickly switched their body forms, like a liquid flowing and struggling. But they were still immobilized by the invisible force field. Moisture. The bone spur monster did not have any movement, and in the invisible force field outside the body surface, one after another subtle violent lightning burst out. And the violent lightning instantly penetrated the liquid body. The next moment, bang! The bodies of the two white-skinned Martians exploded, turning into real liquid and splashing all around. The huge arena was silent for a moment. Then, the Martians in the audience all fled out in panic. It's too weak. The bone spur monster's eyes surged red, and he raised his eyes to look up at the sky. Green humanoid streamers flashed from the air, rushing towards the current gladiatorial arena, and under the super dynamic vision, it was clear that it was a Martian wearing a special suit. The hunters are coming. I don't know who shouted excitedly. In the next instant, countless breaking wind sounds and green lights and shadows descended on the gladiatorial arena. One after another, tall and sturdy green figures rushed towards the bone spur monster playing with the box, and unexpectedly broke through the invisible force field at the same time. And the attacks fell on the monster's body surface one after another. Boom! As if several missiles were dropped from the gladiatorial arena, powerful waves and storms centered on the bone spur monster, layer by layer swept towards the outside. And the gladiatorial arena was the first to withstand the cracking and shattering. The dust waves. There were more than a dozen green-skinned Martians of different men and women on the field, standing next to the body of the bone spur monster, maintaining a stance of punching or kicking, respectively against the monster's head, neck, upper body, and limbs. As a hunter of the Martian family who fights for a living, the speed of action and the combination of sorties are perfect. The all-out attack of every hunter is enough to bombard a triangular fort. But now, no one could laugh, and the green face of each hunter looked pale and stunned. Even the surface of the competitive gladiatorial arena was shattered and collapsed, but the bone spur monster still stood in place, its body autonomously suspended and standing at a low altitude. And the bones of the box in his hand were turning. Facing the siege of hunters, feel the pain of a long absence. The bone spur monster grinned, feeling his muscles loosen a little. Ancient Doomsday Meng smiled, joyful from the heart. The Martian Manhunter, one of the future Justice League superheroes, the clansmen of the homeland of Mars are still there, and they are not extinct. This is a wonderful start before. Bang! The mother box was randomly thrown on the side gladiatorial arena. Ancient Doomsday Meng finally moved, opened his big hand, grabbed the body of a hunter casually, and threw it forward. Boom! The air burst, and the hunter's figure flew out blurrily, smashing through one side of the wall of the audience seat of the gladiatorial arena behind. And continued to throw it further away to the outer city without slowing down. Rumble! Another hunter who had previously attacked Yiming's head was hit by a bone spur fist from the bottom up, and the green body was obviously distorted and deformed. And was thrown towards the altitude of thousands of meters in the gladiatorial arena. Trample! Ancient Doomsday Meng took a furious step, and the energy previously absorbed and converted and accumulated in his body turned into a ball of lightning and exploded. Flying out with more greenskin hunters who rushed to the scene. The gladiatorial arena was completely shattered, and the surrounding outer wall collapsed with a bang. Up! On Mars, dozens of green-skinned hunters who rushed to the scene roared low, flying towards the bone spur monster with calamity and destruction. The war is about to break out. Only 3 minutes late. When the Martian hunter Ron rushed to the sky above the original site of the gladiatorial arena and looked down, the scene that came into his eyes was destined to make him unforgettable. Saw. The underground gladiatorial arena, including the area several kilometers away, turned into ruins, and even the whole earth was sunk into an abyss pit. War. The storm is raging, and the rush is sweeping. More than 100, almost all the greenskin hunter colleagues in the city arrived here to participate in the battle, and there was only one target for the enemy. So looking down, the green figure is densely packed and blurred intertwined, surrounding a bone spur monster dressed in black. Even since the career of the Martian hunter Ron N, the most he has seen is only 10 hunters acting together. But what makes the Martian hunters feel even more unbelievable is that hundreds of green-skinned hunters are in a stalemate and fierce battle, facing the alien invaders who are only one person. One after another green-skinned figures fly out backwards and throw them into the abyss Earth or further cities. More and more hunters are damaged and lose their ability to fight, and the besieging bone spur monsters do not have the slightest strength, and even fight stronger and stronger. Forming natural dust storms and thunder disasters everywhere they pass. It's a disaster and a day of doom. 0098 Doom vs Martian Manhunter. Mars. The sky is burning, the Earth is trembling. On the battlefield of the original site of the arena, only because of the arrival of a bone spur monster, hundreds of elite hunters fell into a bitter battle. And the scene was like the end of civilization. Stop. Seeing the body of another hunter flying out like mud, the Martian hunter who rushed to the scene could no longer bear it, swooped down at a very fast speed with a low roar. And hit the bone spur monster in the center of the storm of the battle with a punch. Boom! The air was disturbed and the wind burst. The bone spur monster immediately fell from the air, and after descending 10 meters in height, it suddenly stopped its black-clad body. The bone spur monster stood high in the sky of the abyss of the battlefield, raised a pair of eyes that jumped to destroy the red flame, and looked up at the new hunter who joined the battlefield. His face covered with a white bone mask was expressionless, but the corners of his mouth were already a little fierce. No anger, no hatred, but a primitive pleasure and excitement. At this moment, the Martian manhunter felt like he was being stared at by a truly mysterious and terrifying abyss, and he was terrified. Of course, this is also because the surrounding hunters are fearful, making the telepathic realm here into an abyss hell of despair. After all, it's not that the hunters are too weak, it's that this skull spur monster is too powerful, and its physical strength and energy seem to be endless. If it goes on like this, it can't work. Martian hunter Rong-en immediately telepathized with dozens of hunters who still had combat power on the field, and calmly transmitted, "Now, with me taking over the command of the hunter team, we will definitely be able to repel this intruder. Okay, it's up to you to command. Martian manhunter, I listen to you. Let's go together." On the field, the hunters who still had combat power immediately responded telepathically, and the emotions of fear were reversed into fighting spirit and courage. Boom! The bone spur monster exists with a storm that soars into the sky, and directly returns a punch. Not to be outdone, the Martian hunter Rong-en stepped down heavily, and the right foot of the green leather watch turned into a streamer, meeting the monster's bone spur fist. Although it is fist to foot, it is obviously a bone spur fist slightly larger, and the super strength and the fists and feet under the body collide, making the surrounding Martian region air pressure distorted and disordered. Martian manhunter Rong-en only felt a force several times his own coming, his right foot hurt, subconsciously changed the shape of his right leg to soften and unload most of the power, and fell downwind towards the sky above for more than 10 meters before regaining stability. But compared to the blow of the bone spur monster, it is difficult to resist other hunters who fly out, which is already a very good level. Sure enough, here on Mars, he is the strongest. Ancient Doomsday Yi Dream had just warmed up, felt happy in his heart, and continued to fly towards the Martian hunter Rong-en. Yi Meng felt that this time, he might be able to let himself really enjoy himself since Krypton, and properly entertain the desire for destruction. It's not out of control, it's controllable. No matter what, he is always the ancient day of doom, born to fight. Even if you will consider the problem of losing control, it is impossible to be like artificial intelligence, low-key lurking and behind-the-scenes control. Doomsday is Doomsday, because there is no fear, and fear, no matter how rational and restrained, you will never be like a person. Yi Meng clearly understood this. From the initial forced anti-invasion control, to the current immersion in the ancient day of destruction, but it is easier to control the power, the longer the existence of reason. This change is somewhat similar to Dr. Banner the Hulk over there in Marvel Dreamland. From initial resistance, controllability, substitution, until two different personalities become one. Is it good or bad? Ancient Doomsday dreams are unknown, so continue to follow your heart and ask for a hearty battle. Although the Martian hunter had expected it for a long time, he was still shocked by the strength of the bone spur monster, which was several times higher than that of the strongest hunter himself. Thereupon, when he saw that the bone spur monster existence was flying towards him again, the Martian manhunter crossed his hands in defense while telepathically dominating all the hunters on the field. At the moment when the Martian manhunter snorted in pain and was shot out again, hundreds of blazing red lights lit up from the surroundings, and then turned into beams of hot sight, intertwining in the air to form a net, centered on the bone spur monster located in the sky above the center of the abyss. Heat vision, first,